Our Histories, Our Stories would like to shine a light on Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor is one of America's most popular stand-up comedians, also known as a television writer and an actor. He was born in Illinois on December 1st, 1940. Richard had a rough childhood. His mother was a prostitute, and his father was a former boxer and a street hustler. He was abandoned by his mother by the time he was 10 years old and suffered sexual and physical abuses as he grew up in his grandmother's brothel. Richard was enlisted in the United States Army, where he spent almost all of his time in Army detention for beating up a white man over race-related issues. He had several stints with the law, including the use of banned substances, which ultimately affected his fragile heart. After his time in the Army, he started appearing as a stand-up comedian in local bars and for local events. Fellow comedian Bill Cosby was his role model while he was starting out as a comedian. Richard began his career on a light note, but as time went on, his shows became deeper into such topics as racism, religion, satire, American politics, African American culture, and much, much more.
What do you think that these executives are afraid you're going to do to white America?
Probably stop some racism.
Stop racism?
Yeah, I'm probably afraid of that, because then people don't hate each other, and people start talking to each other, and then they start talking to each other, they find out who's the problem.
Which is?
Greedy people.
Greedy people. I have a couple things I want to ask you there. Do you really think that some of the guys that you dealt with at NBC, no names, right? Because there's lawsuits for that too, that some of these guys really want to promote racism actively, or is it a subconscious?
I just think it's part of capitalism, is to promote racism, you know, right? In order to make things work. If you feel better because you're white and you can get a job, you use that. I mean, you know, I would.
Absolutely.
Say, I'm sorry, Jack, but shit, they say I'm white, I'm going to use this.
Right, absolutely.
Get this job, I'm hungry, you know. But, and that separates people. So they keep people separated, and that keeps them from thinking about the real problem. That's as simple as I see it. Probably it's not that simple, but...
Now, all right, you and I are about the same age, right? We're in our mid-30s. How long is it going to take before guys who think like you, and I say guys who think like me, people who don't want to have racism in the country, people who don't want to be oppressing any minority, whatever it is, sexual, whatever minority, really get into positions of power and can change things?
You can't get in a position of power, it seems, if you think like that. It seems that the only time you get in a position of power is if you're like the people that are in power. To me, I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, people that get to become executives become like the people that were already executives.
I don't know, maybe...
They go in with good intentions, but it eats them up. It's like a cesspool, you know, it just gets on you and it starts eating.
The system levels them.
Pretty soon it's all gone.
Is that what a cesspool sounds like?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, we'll be back right after this.
Okay.
He became famous as a comedian, which allowed him to show his other talents. He got involved in acting, making appearances in such movies as Blue Streaks, Moving, See No Evil, Hear No Evil, and Superman 3. And with several very successful stand-up shows, Richard can be regarded as one of the pioneers of the modern-day stand-up. He worked with several top stars in the entertainment industry, which included George Carlin, Dave Chappelle, Whoopi Goldberg, Ice-T, Paul Mooney, Joan Rivers, and Lily Tomlin.
By 1971, when Pryor settled in Berkeley, he had basically run into a wall in terms of his life as a comedian. He didn't like the kind of crossover comedy he was doing. And what he found in Berkeley was the freedom to experiment, especially the freedom to be unfunny. And so if we look at what he was doing when he was in Berkeley, he's creating screenplays for guerrilla filmmaking. He's creating sound collages that are against police and prison brutality. He's doing new kinds of stand-up that are almost more like off Broadway theater, experimental. So he's freed to let his imagination go wherever it will. And that has a huge impact on the comedian he becomes after he leaves Berkeley, the fearless Richard Pryor, who changes every genre that he takes on.
To name a few, Richard Pryor can be regarded as one of the most successful black comedians and actors, period. He won many awards and accolades, including winning an Emmy in 1973 and 5 Grammy Awards, 1974, 1975, 1976, 1981, and 1982. He was famous for his comedy and was ranked #1 comedian of all time by Comedy Central. He also appeared on the cover of Rolling Stone magazine in 2017 amongst the top 50 comedians of all time. Richard's adult life was not rosy by any means. He suffered several heart attacks and was diagnosed in 1986 with multiple sclerosis. Despite the diagnosis, he never stopped acting and performing. In spite of reports that he was bisexual and once slept with Marlon Brandon, he was married twice and had 7 children. Richard Pryor was a legendary comedian and actor who paved the way for the likes of Eddie Murphy, Chris Rock, and many others. He will go down in history as one of the greatest. He died of heart-related issues on December 10th, 2005.
I am thrilled. It's not often that amateur people get a chance to be on television, even 30 or 40 seconds, as they were. And the comments were brilliant. Spoon on the end, a man who nobody gives a shit about. Was cleaning out toilets, and we found him, he was making a sandwich. We said, "Spoon, please, drop the doo-doo." Please. We don't want to see black people doing this. Please come forth and join in the group of life.